Hi, I'm Daryl Munro and welcome back to our Beyond the Numbers video series. Today's topic is to talk about coaching versus counselling. So in workshops we often get asked by leaders, when do we move from one to the other? So first of all, I'll explain the two differences just so we're all on the same page. So on this graph here, what we have is this dotted line represents expectations. So this is like if someone exceeds that line, meets that line or exceeds that line, they're performing well. So in this situation here, a team member's performance has dropped away and you've actually had a coaching interaction, a check-in. You're demonstrating through checking in that you are monitoring what's happening. You're seeking to get an understanding of what caused this drop in performance, and you're looking to get some commitment for the person to take the actions required to bring them back to the line or above the line. Again, the same situation, you're making this could be a period of weeks or even months, but you're constantly checking in. But don't forget, it's not just about performance below the line, you should be coaching to acknowledge the performance above the line to help sustain that over time. So in this case, in this graph, it's coach, 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 and coach. If you're doing that and you had a line something like that, and if you had variations of that across your team, you could quite easily, hand on heart, say you had a high-performing team, because the majority of the time they're above expectations, and that's what we're seeking in a high-performance team. So what's the contrary to that? Okay, this is where we institute counselling. So counselling is slightly different, but it uses coaching as the first approach, if you like, or the first part or first stage of your leadership being applied. So here we've got the similar thing. We've got the expectations set with the dotted line, and we have a dip below. We have a coaching interaction. We look at getting them to understand what's happened. We align them back to the expectation, and we get their commitment to pull themselves back up. In this case, the person's actually pulled themselves above expectation, and away they go again. Drop down, have another coaching interaction. And then they've got themselves above, and we think, well, we better make sure the last two times I had a coaching interaction, it was on the negative trying to pull them back. Let's have a coaching interaction to acknowledge how well I've done in pulling themselves not just to the line, but above the line. And then what happens is we see a series of, or a trend of below the line performances. And this is now going to cause you to trigger moving to the next stage, which is counsel. So what's happening here is they're not responding to the coaching, and therefore we need to now move them to a performance plan. Now, if this hasn't happened very often and you're inexperienced in managing this process, I would recommend that you engage with your HR business partner or your HR team members to get the just get it clear in your mind what that process is, how you would typically conduct that conversation, and then use the system or process that the organisation use to now write this up in a way that there's a set of actions and clear expectations and commitment is gained so that they understand that if they fail to bring this performance back to at least the expectation line, then this could lead to removal from role. So that could lead ultimately to termination in the organisation. So the critical thing here is your consistency of behaviour as a leader, and this is an expectation that when you go and engage HR, they'll ask you to demonstrate what you've actually done about helping this person recognise the need for a performance change. So if you've got a history of coaching interactions with employees or team members, it's really helpful to start making short notes in a diary. So I spoke with Janine today, I spoke with Daryl yesterday, and just a short note about what the conversation. So the conversation was just realignment to get them back on track. Up here was I make a note about acknowledging that they have got their performance up, etc., etc. Over here, they will expect you, this is the HR team members, to have this track record of coaching. And then if you've demonstrated that, you've taken every effort to get them back online, then we start to formalise and say now there's a set expectation and there's an action plan associated. So that's coaching versus counselling pretty much in a nutshell. So we look forward to catching up with you in our future video series.